Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. As someone preparing for the IELTS exam myself, I know how challenging the reading section can be. That's why I wanted to share some tips and strategies that I have found helpful during my own preparation. In this video, we will go over what the reading test is like, how to approach the different question types, and how to manage your time effectively. I hope these insights will make your preparation a little easier and help you feel more confident. Let's get started. The IELTS reading test is actually pretty straightforward once you get the hang of it. It's an hour-long test with 3 sections and you have to answer 40 questions. The passage gets progressively harder, so the first one's like, oh, I got this, and by the third one, you are like, wait, what's happening? The passages are taken from magazines, books, or newspapers, so they're not boring. It's all about understanding the gist, picking out the details, and sometimes figuring out the writer's tone or opinion. And the questions are super vivid. There's matching headings, filling in the blanks, multiple choice, true false not given, which honestly makes everyone question their life choices, and even diagram labeling. The trick is not to waste time reading every single word. It's more about skimming for the main ideas and scanning for specific details. If you don't know a word, don't panic, just try to guess from the context. I feel like if you practice regularly and get used to the question types, you can totally get it. It's like cracking a puzzle. When it comes to the IELTS reading test, time management is everything. You have got 60 minutes to answer 40 questions, but your approach will depend on whether you are taking the paper-based or computer-based test. Let's break it down. First, remember to set aside 10 minutes at the end of the paper-based test to transfer your answers onto the answer sheet. But here's a tip, don't leave all the transferring for the end. Instead, transfer the answers from each section as soon as you finish it. For example, when you are done with section 1, transfer those answers immediately, then move to the next section. Doing this will save you from any last-minute panic. For those taking the computer-based test, you don't have to worry about transferring at all because you will be answering directly on the computer. Just make sure you're clicking carefully and double-checking as you go. Now, about the questions, out of the 40 questions, about 28 to 30 will be easy. 5 to 6 will be moderately challenging and another 5 to 6 will be very difficult. Your target should be to secure the easy ones first. If you find a question that's too tough, don't waste your precious time, just skip it and come back later. For time management, think of each passage as giving you about 16 to 17 minutes. Spend most of the time on the question you feel confident about and save the really hard ones for the end. This way, you will maximize your score without feeling overwhelmed. Let me tell you about 2 techniques that can save you so much time in IELTS reading test: skimming and scanning. They are like the ultimate hacks for handling long text without getting lost. Skimming is all about quickly getting the main idea of the passage. Think of it like this. You are not reading every single word, you are just getting the gist of what it's about. So, you start with the title, maybe glance at the headings or the subheadings and then skim through the first or last sentence of each paragraph. You will also notice things that stand out like bold words, name and date. Don't stress about the difficult words, just keep moving. For example, imagine a passage called The Rise of Electric Cars. If you skim through it, you might pick up that the first paragraph talks about why electric cars are becoming popular, the second mentions how they're reducing pollution, and the last one highlights challenges like battery life and charging stations. See, you have got the main idea without reading every word. Now, scanning is a bit different. It's like hunting for treasure. You're looking for a specific piece of information like a year, a name, or even a phrase. Here's how it works. You read the question and first figure out what the keyword you need to find. Then you run your eyes quickly down the text like a zigzag or a straight line until you spot it. Once you find the keyword, you slow down and read the part carefully to get the answer. For example, let's say the question asks, when was the first electric car invented? You would scan the passage for the words like first or electric car. Maybe you find a sentence like, in 1884, Thomas Parker built the first electric car in England. And there's your answer, 1884. You didn't have to read the whole paragraph, you just zoom in on what you needed. So, skimming is about seeing the big picture and scanning is about zooming in on the details. Once you mastered this, you will be breezing through the IELTS reading section like a pro. So, in the IELTS reading test, you will face a variety of question types. Each one has its own style, but once you are familiar with them, they are not as hard as they seem. Let me show you some examples. The multiple choice questions. These are pretty standard. You will get a question with 3 or 4 options and you have to pick the correct one. For example, what is the main benefit of electric cars? They are faster, they are more affordable, they reduce pollution. You will skim or scan the text to find where it talks about the benefit of electric cars and match it to one of those options. Next is short answer question. Here you will write a short answer, usually 1 to 3 words. For instance, what year was the first electric car invented? Your answer might simply be 1884. Just be sure to stick to the word limit mentioned in the instruction. Next is sentence completion. This is where you fill in the blank in a sentence with a word or phrase from the text. For example, electric cars are known for reducing. From the passage, you might find the answer pollution. True, false, not given. These questions test if the information in the passage matches the statement. For example, electric cars are more expensive than gasoline cars. It's true if it matches the text, it's false if it contradicts the text, and not given if the text doesn't mention it at all. One of the trickiest part of the IELTS reading test is the true, false, not given questions. Many students struggle, especially with deciding whether something is false or not given. Let me break it down for you with a simple trick. If the question gives more information than the passage does, or if it assumes something that isn't clearly stated, the answer is not given. Imagine the passage says the charity raises money to pay for education and daily needs of poor people. Now, here's the question. The charity spends more of the money raised on schooling than on their daily requirements. At first glance, you might think this is true or false, but let's pause and look closely. Does the passage say anything about how the money is divided? No, it doesn't. It doesn't mention whether more money goes to schooling or daily needs. It just says the charity raises money for both. That's it. Since the question is asking for something that the passage doesn't mention at all, the answer is not given. Let me explain the difference further. If the passage had said the charity spends an equal amount of money on schooling and daily needs, the answer would be false because the question claims otherwise. If the passage has said the charity spends more on daily needs than on schooling, the answer would again be false because it contradicts the question. But in this case, the passage doesn't say anything about how the money is split, so the answer is not given. So here's the golden rule. If the passage doesn't have enough information to confirm or contradict the statement, the answer is always not given. A lot of students get confused and overthink these questions. But the key is to stay calm and focus on what the passage actually says. Don't assume or add extra details in your mind. Just stick to what's written. With practice, you will get hang of it. And trust me, once you master this trick, the questions feel super easy. Identifying the writer's view and claim. This is similar to true, false, not given, but it focuses on the writer's opinion or claims. For example, the writer believes electric cars will dominate the market in the future. You will look for the writer's opinion to determine if it's yes, no, or not given. Next is matching headings. This is where you match a list of headings to the paragraphs. The heading represents the main idea of a paragraph. Matching headings is one of the most common question types in the IELTS reading section. Basically, you are matching the main idea of each paragraph with a correct heading from a list. For example, if a paragraph talks about the history of electric cars, you would match it with a heading like Origins of Electric Vehicles. Sounds straightforward, right? But there's a little trick to make it even easier. Here's what I suggest. First, read the passage. Don't even look at the headings yet. Just read the paragraph carefully and think about the main idea, what this paragraph is really about. Try to gauge the heading in your own words before checking the options. Next, look at the headings. Go through the options and see which matches your gauged idea. Focus on the heading that captured the big picture of the paragraph. Ignore the small details. They are here to confuse you. And finally, check the instruction. Sometimes headings can only be used once, exclusive. But other times, the same heading can be used for more than one paragraph. The instructions will always tell you, so don't skip over them. This way, You stay focused, avoid distraction, and save a lot of time. It's all about understanding the main idea and matching it smartly. Next is matching names or information. Here, you match names or specific information to what is said about them in the passage. For example, who invented the first electric car? From the text, you would match Thomas Parker to this invention. Next is summary completion. You will complete a summary using words from the passage or a provided word bank. For example, electric cars were first introduced in and are known for their benefits. Your answer might be 1884 and environmental. Next is note completion. This is like summary completion but focuses on notes. For instance, electric cars, advantages reduced, challenges short range. Your answer could be pollution and battery. Another type is table completion. You will fill in missing details in a table. Example, car model, Tesla Model S, feature, year 2012. Your answer might be electric motor. Next is flowchart completion. You will complete a flowchart showing steps. For example, step 1, design the car. Step 2, build the dash. Step 3, test the prototype. Your answer might be battery. Then comes diagram labeling. This is where you label parts of a diagram based on the text. For example, a diagram of an electric car might ask you to label the battery compartment. Classification. You will classify information into categories. For example, which features are related to electric cars or gasoline cars. You would classify the answers like low emissions under electric cars and high fuel cost under gasoline cars. So, these are the question types you will face. The key is to understand the instructions for each and practice so you feel comfortable with them. Once you're familiar, you will see they're more like puzzles waiting to be solved. That's all for today's lesson. I hope these tips help you feel more confident about the IELTS reading section. Remember, the key is to stay calm, manage your time wisely, and practice as much as you can. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video.